Good morning, everyone, or afternoon, or possibly good night depending on when you're watching this. Either way, since the Christmas season is about to be upon us, it reminded me of a sadly true story I had heard a while back that I thought I'd take the time to share with you today. The story you're about to hear is the kind of thing that happens all too often when someone has too much power over someone else's life. Someone should have told young Paul as he was growing up to live and let live, but sadly, they never did. Once upon a time, in a small town called Troisdorf nestled deep within the mountains of Germany, there lived a charismatic and enigmatic man named Paul Shafer. Paul Shafer was born on December 4, 1921. He grew up in Troisdorf and later became a prominent figure in a religious cult known as Colonia Dignidad. Colonia Dignidad was founded by Shafer in 1961 in Chile. It started as a religious community, but eventually turned into a secretive and authoritarian cult. The cult operated as a self-sufficient commune, isolated from the outside world. It had its own school, hospital, and even an airstrip. Little did the townspeople know that this seemingly ordinary man would go on to become the leader of an evangelical cult and orchestrate a shocking crime that would forever tarnish the spirit of Christmas. Shafer used his charismatic personality and religious beliefs to gain control over his followers. He enforced strict rules and regulations within the community, including forced labor, physical punishment, and sexual abuse. The members of Colonia Dignidad were cut off from their families and subjected to psychological manipulation. Paul Shafer was born into a humble family, raised with strong religious values. As he grew older, he developed a magnetic personality and an uncanny ability to captivate those around him with his words. His charisma drew people in, and soon he began to gather a following of devoted followers who believed in his teachings. Over time, Shafer's influence grew, and he established his own religious community in the heart of the town. The community was built on strict principles and fervent devotion to their leader. They believed that Shafer was chosen by a higher power to guide them towards salvation. As the years went by, Shafer's control over his followers tightened. He began to implement strict rules and regulations, isolating them from the outside world. The community became self-sufficient, relying solely on their own resources and cutting off all contact with friends and family who did not share their beliefs. It was during one fateful winter that Shafer's obsession with power took a dark turn. He became fixated on the figure of Santa Claus, viewing him as a symbol of materialism and greed that contradicted his religious teachings. In his twisted mind, Shafer believed that by assassinating Santa Claus, he could rid the world of these vices and bring about a purer form of celebration. Shafer meticulously planned his attack on Santa Claus, studying every detail of the annual Christmas parade that took place in the neighboring town. Disguised as one of Santa's helpers, he infiltrated the parade and at the opportune moment, pulled out a concealed weapon and shot at the unsuspecting Santa Claus. The chaos that ensued was unimaginable. The joyful atmosphere of the parade turned into a scene of horror and confusion. Panic spread through the crowd as people scrambled to safety, and Santa Claus lay motionless on the ground. News of the assassination attempt spread like wildfire, capturing the attention of the entire nation. Law enforcement agencies launched a massive manhunt to capture the perpetrator and bring him to justice. Meanwhile, the townspeople who had once idolized Shafer were left in shock and disbelief, struggling to reconcile their devotion with his heinous act. As the investigation unfolded, it became clear that Shafer's actions were not those of a religious leader, but rather a deranged individual consumed by his own delusions of power. His followers began to question their blind faith, realizing that they had been manipulated and deceived. With mounting evidence against him, Shafer was eventually apprehended and brought to trial in 2005. The courtroom was filled with tension as witnesses testified against him, revealing the extent of his manipulation and control over his followers. The jury found him guilty on multiple charges, including attempted murder and leading a cult. In 2006, he was sentenced to 20 years in prison. However, He died in prison in 2010 at the age of 88. Shafer's downfall marked the end of an era for his followers. They slowly began to rebuild their lives outside of his influence, seeking therapy and support to heal from the trauma they had endured. The town itself went through a period of reflection and soul-searching, vowing never to let such manipulation happen again. In the aftermath of this dark chapter, the spirit of Christmas prevailed. The townspeople rallied together, determined to restore the joy and innocence that had been tarnished by Shafer's actions. They organized events and initiatives aimed at spreading love and kindness during the holiday season, ensuring that Santa Claus would forever be remembered as a symbol of hope rather than fear. Anywho, pretty dark stuff, huh? Was this guy a fruitcake or what? We did another story about a cult leader who was similar to this one a while back. Just go to graveyarddance.com and click videos and scroll back till you see the Lundgren cult murders. Actually, come to think of it, we've done a few. There was the Heaven's Gate cult we did one on. The Brides of Christ cult was another dark story. If your preacher or spiritual advisor starts acting like these guys, get out while you still can. On that note, here's a link to merch. We have some hella cool swag you would probably love to have. We have our socials here. And with that, thanks for watching and thanks even more for being a loyal watcher and hopefully a subscriber. Share our stuff and with that, till next time, thanks for watching.